Do you love rover combat? Do you want to see a giant monument be toppled from the top of a building? Do you want to see a mortar rover shell an enemy position? Do you want to see a faction defend against multiple? Well, that's all about to happen in this video. Now let's break down this scenario. So RAB are coming under attack from multiple factions. The main reason for this is RAB are holding a large quantity of both uranium and platinum. And on this rover server, uranium is rare and platinum is rare as well. It's great for missiles and great for powering and making equipment that the other players need. So that's the main purpose of the attack. Now what do RAB have on their hands? Well, RAB have got a good defensive position on this plateau. They also have a choke point that's located here where they can funnel enemy rovers in, and have also placed 2 tank traps at the front due to them facing overwhelming odds. Now in the favour of the attackers do have 2 hills either side that overlook RAB's base. They could have some deadly fire angles here and support the attack through the chokehold, so let's see what happens. Now with the battle beginning, RAB took some pot shots at the attackers as they were moving into position, but as predicted they took position on the high ground and they began their assault through the choke point. RAB did a great job of defending the choke point area with a singular rover, holding the others back in reserve, shelling the other rovers on the mountain. One of the large attacking rovers came in with a giant volley of missiles, shelling the hell out of this RAB rover and in turn gutting it. But the RAB rover being there, blocking that gap between the tank traps, is definitely going to cause some trouble. With RAB engaged at the tank traps, the attackers brought up some of their mortar vehicles. They had 2 to start with, but one of them exploded in the tube, causing it to be useless for the rest of the battle. The other one was deployed quite effectively, causing RAB to have to intercept the incoming bombs. Now out of nowhere, an RAB rover managed to sneak up on the mortar vehicle. It fired a few rounds, but as you can see, our players really don't like to ram each other, and we really try to promote not ramming because it causes a lot of server lag. So they did a great dance here to avoid any collision or crashing. The artillery from the hilltops kept up a ruthless bombardment. I believe we had RAB Pike that was manning the defences in the base, and he was struggling to keep up with the amount of fire that was coming down. Towards the front gate, the rovers were attempting to push the RAB wreck out the way. They were also bringing the mortar vehicle closer so it could start bombarding the base. Now this attempt by, I believe it was Oculi, to try and get through the tank traps here was not too good. He ended up ripping off one of his weapon systems and summoning a little bit of clang, but still quite funny. Now the mortar system had pushed up. It had exploited the opportunity why RAB had moved behind the base to either rearm or better hide themselves from the artillery that was hitting the hillside. With 3 incoming mortars, RAB did their best to destroy 2, with only 1 doing a minimal amount of damage to the side structure. Now the mortar system decided to pull back when it reloaded its mortar rounds. RAB also shifted their focus to the attackers on the hillside, delivering some really accurate fire, forcing them to dip themselves back behind the hill and stop firing at the fortress, only for a few moments though. Taking the attackers off guard, RAB decided to launch a mini counter-attack, launching a volley of rockets at the attackers, crippling one rover, and as a second rover pushed through, they launched more rockets and used the second rover to support it, taking out the wheels and leaving both rovers immobile. But this was all for nothing, because shortly after, a rover that was captured was then driven into the ground that caused the server to crash. The reset booted back up just before these two rovers attacked. Now what this meant was the attackers learned from the mistake of sending the two rovers in, and instead of that happening, Luke Goblin got behind the captured RAB rover and used it as cover to move himself closer to the RAB rovers. Shortly after, Oculi follows behind in his rover that was destroyed before, and the battle does change hands. It's an interesting moment this is just a sad part of Space Engineers when it crashes, and sadly it wasn't in the defenders' favour when it reset. Now this second attack worked. Luke Goblin and I believe it was Oculi managed to repel the RAB forces and push them further back into their base. Wheels were lost on both sides and the fighting continued to be intense. Now this is something I would usually take out the video when I see a player doing something a bit scummy, but I wanted to leave it in and I want to get your opinions on it. So the player who captured the RAB grid moved it to the back of the base and attempted to ram a number of small rovers. When that failed, he then rammed into one of the large rovers, and as I said before, ramming is something we really look down on the server because it causes lots of crashes. But what really upset me here is that this player went out of his way to try and crush these small grids behind the base and would have just took the battle away from both attackers and defenders just by rolling on top of them. And I just think that's just a scummy tactic, and I don't know what the hell this player was thinking. Anyway, let me know what you think about it in the comment section below, but we'll continue on. With the RAB rovers damaged but not completely out of the fight, this was an opportunity for the attackers to utilise some of their small bomb rovers. The first one rushed up, ramming its explosive device into the wheel, and you can actually see the wheel exploded from inside out with that explosive device lodged in there. A very interesting weapon indeed. Now, while the carnage outside was ensuing, someone had been targeting the supports for the statue on top of the RAB base. With a few critically placed shots, the statue then fell, blocking the front entrance. This was both bad for the attackers and defenders, as it blocked the attackers from rushing the front entrance with their bomb vehicles, and it also forced RAB to use the back entrance that was temporarily blocked by one of their big rovers. So, quite a dilemma. Now Pike was still at it, manning the weapons like a fanatical madman, shooting missile launchers right into critical spots and knocking out the attackers' weapons. This was crucial and would buy RAB vital time to man the large rovers at the back. RAB members that weren't preparing the rovers at the back manned up in these cute innocent looking burgers, but the explosive payload that they were carrying wasn't innocent at all. Luckily enough, the attackers saw this coming and managed to intercept and take them out. Now this was also quite a spectacular clip. Watch as this rover dips, rips off one of its under-supporting small wheels that then flies up in front of the rocket launcher, and when the player pulls the trigger it blows up the missile launchers because it hits the rotor right in front of them. Insane. RAB weren't out of the fight just yet. They launched a few more small rovers and also give a little bit of misinformation in the chat and said that all the uranium and platinum was aboard the rover. This caused the attacking players to frenzy, splitting themselves between attacking their base and attacking the rover. Now looking from above, the attackers on the hill have now joined the fight. RAB are completely outnumbered. The best they can do is circle the horses, and they try to make a little bit of a run around their base, staying mobile in the rover, trying to buy the guys in the base as much time as possible. I'm not sure what to do, maybe man the turrets, maybe weed away at the enemy that are attacking. RAB know that they're not going to be able to win this battle, but they're going to go down fighting. A player is quickly spotted by RAB, who's lurking underneath one of the rovers. I'm not sure if this guy fell off one of the rovers that was in a fight before, or he was trying to do a bit of sabotage, but hiding behind these wheels was not a good idea. And you can see the panic right through his visor as both the wheels disintegrate behind him and he runs for cover. With the extra attackers now down around the rover, they soon had them blocked in. I just want to thank the players for a great job they did here in not trying to phase through the grids too much. The rams were gentle and the blocking tactics were really appreciated. It helped the server run nicely through this moment. Soon enough though, they got a player aboard the RAB rover. He checked the cargo and realised that RAB were bluffing. This rover was soon pushed off a cliff, or attempted to be pushed off a cliff. It got a bit stuck. And the players then focused on attacking the base. RAB then had a little last stand with some rocket launchers, and a bit of a stalemate was met. Players couldn't get the resources. At the same time, the damage to the base and the damage to the resources was going to cause the players that were attacking to lose what they'd come for. So a sort of decision was met by both sides, and reward resources were taken away. So great battle by all. I'm aware there's a little bit of salt at the end. There always is with a base attack. You can't avoid it. But I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the carnage, and more importantly, let me know of what you thought of the introduction with the arrows and the commentary through it. If you like this, or do you just want to see music and pure action and combat.